Hi, welcome back. So, a quick recap of what we had been doing in the last few sessions. In the sharing of my reflections, which is now renamed as Contemplations in Quarantine. Of course, contemplations have got a lot of connotations. For our reference, it is only the reflections. We will keep it in that particular context. So, we have shared a few thoughts on a few dimensions of life and in general things. One is things related to some dimensions related to time, change, and now we are in the process of discussing the people dimension. In the people dimension also, we had agreed that we look at about 7 aspects, out of which we have just covered 3 of them. Being good to people, genuinely good to people, adding value to people, and third one is understanding the people. That is where we are the process of discussing understanding people and subsequent leading points. I left with you last time with a story about the hidden mango and a task to you for finding those hidden mangoes in known people as well as new relationships. So what did you do? Did you find some mangoes that were hidden? And how are they tasting? Sweet, sour, or mix of both? Anyway, mangoes are always good. Whether it is sweet or sour, it always has a good taste. And similarly, when you unearth the hidden mango of the other person, it always gives you a good feeling that I have understood the person quite well. So, how does it lead to the next one? The fourth one that we are going to discuss today is the stimuli and the response. How does the previous one leads into the next topic? Stimuli is an initiating process. So, the initiating process is in your control. If you are the initiating person, it is in your control. You can decide as to what kind of a stimuli I want to give. Being good to other people is a stimuli. Adding value to other people is a stimuli. Trying to seek understanding the others is another good stimuli. We go back to our first day quotes when I quoted about the friends. I went in search for good friends, I could not find any. I started behaving like a good friend, many people came to me. So if your stimuli is going to be good, the response from the others also are likely to be good. That's about the stimuli that you can initiate. But how about other people? Their stimuli. Do you have a control? Yes or no? A very clear no. Alright? You have no control over the other person's stimuli. But how to respond to that stimuli is in your control, or you can manage it quite well. Whether we manage it well or not is a point to ponder all the time, that's a different one. But you can respond accordingly if you understand the stimuli. Now I am sure you are able to connect. Understanding others will help you to respond to their stimuli, behaviors. So that is the connection. How do we do that? A stimuli and the response. I am drawn to the magnet. So my book, vintage book. So I will read. A simple idea that there is a gap or space between a stimuli and a response. And the key to both our growth and happiness is how we use the space. Very pertinent, very poignant, very good, no? Fantastic quote. That's how Stephen Covey is a very acclaimed kind of person. His thought process gives you a totally different dimension. How do you use that space? Certain things we'll have to react immediately. Certain things we'll have to spar. We use it in the boxing language, you know. You spar, waiting for the right moment to strike back. A good effort, a good act must be appreciated instant. It is effective. You are going to get the best out of that. But if the act or behavior is not so good and you would like to correct that, if you do it immediately, it might have different outcomes. Maybe sometimes positive, most of the time it is always negative, that instant response to a bad or not so good stimuli. Maybe that needs a time. What kind of a time? Shall we say beer brewing time? So you'll have to think as to what I should do, how do I respond. So certain stimuli needs a amount of time. So how do we use that space is the key to success. Having spoken so much, I am guilty of many times falling in the gap because I have not used them appropriately. Instead of bridging the gap, I have fallen down because the misuse of the space. So one instance comes to my mind. It's about Sunil Gavaskar. He doesn't need any introduction. I am bringing this example to see the effect. When you react immediately in the appropriate moment, what happens? They were playing against Australia. India was playing against Australia in Sydney. Gavaskar and Chetan Chauhan were the openers. The match was going well. He was batting well. Suddenly there was a stimuli from the umpire. He raised his finger against the LBW appeal against Gavaskar. And Gavaskar was shocked and he said, this is not done. So I have played on or whatever it is. He thought that he is not out. He was not in front of the wicket. And he gesticulated, etc., but he had to leave. Those days, those kind of a review, third umpire, were not available. So he had to walk. So he was so furious and he held fort for some time. Then he started walking briskly. In the process said, Chetan, come and we'll walk out. Actually he was ready to hand over the match to Australia on a platter. And you know how quickly he walks, he raced towards the pavilion. Chetan measuredly he came and stood at the boundary line. Had he crossed, match is over. But he didn't cross. Then better sense prevailed. Someone counseled Gavaskar, not done. So next batsman said, I am going in. And he walked in and they started playing. And India won the match. Imagine that instant reaction of negative reaction to that stimuli would have cost India that match. So the point I am making here is, how do we use that space is the key. Is there a different example where people do it differently? They give a gap. Can't think immediately because we are more reactive. For any stimuli, we immediately reactive. Even Stephen Covey was saying that habit number 5 is difficult because my mind is racing for a response to the first stimuli. So it is always difficult. But I can think of possibly one person, Sadhguru. Whatever stimuli that is created by the interviewer or the questionnaire, the person who is questioning him, his responses are always measured. He doesn't pounce upon the person. Seldom he might have done once in a while, but most of the time his response is always measured. He thinks, that means he is processing. He will go around and then the process he is thinking and then going ahead in that. So what is the take today? So we have talked of understanding others, which is leading into a stimuli and a response. And we talked about the gap. That is one takeaway. The second takeaway is the stimuli, as I am initiating, can always be a well thought kind of a stimuli. Go back and remember the quote, I went in search of good friends, I did not find any, I start behaving like good friend, many people come to me. So your stimuli can always be a positive one, which will always receive a positive response, which is quite natural, no? A positive stimuli always gets you a positive response. A negative, 100% it gives you only negative response. So think about this. I am leaving you with this thought on the task of practicing the use of this gap. Maybe within your close circle, family, close friends, practice it and you will find it very, very useful. So till then, have a nice day. See you. Bye. Thank you.